So where is all of this going? Let's go to Katie Cherkasky, the constitutional law attorney, former federal prosecutor. Katie, if it builds up in a couple of weeks that Democrats and the two Republican members make their push to the Justice Department to file criminal charges, how likely is that?
Well, Neil, I think that's really the big question here. It's really still unclear what the purpose of this committee, and especially airing it publicly, is, whether it is to encourage the DOJ to issue more indictments, or whether this is just more of a political theater to try to shock the American people about what they say is the truth about what happened that day. I think that, realistically speaking, criminal charges against President Trump are pretty tenuous. There are some arguments that people have made in terms of how he could be connected to both conspiracies to defraud an election counting process and also really to incite these riots. He was, in fact, impeached for that, if we remember. Of course, that didn't go very far. So I think to the extent that Trump himself will be maybe taken down, I think that's wishful thinking for some. In terms of other indictments, again, pretty tenuous, but that is possible. DOJ didn't conduct these interviews or this investigation for the most part, but they are taking pieces of that and ultimately considering whether there are indictments that could issue. So it's still a possibility for sure. I don't know how realistic it is for some of the higher ups, though.
Yeah, it does look more like damage and damning by 1,000 cuts, given they've talked to over 1,000 witnesses, tens of thousands of pages of other information and data. What I'm just wondering, Katie, is if Congress flips and all of a sudden you have Republicans in control, the argument has been that this goes away. But if someone has had charges filed against them, they don't go away. What's the legality on that?
Sure. And I think even with Congress as it is, it's going to be difficult for the DOJ to be very interested in a lot of these potentially criminal allegations. If you recall, Mark Meadows himself was not filed charges even for refusing to participate in this for contempt of Congress. So the incentive to really criminally proceed with a lot of these cases, I think, is not the forefront, I think, of really the committee's mind, even as it stands right now. But there are some who think that there's arguments that could be made that might convince Merrick Garland to move forward.
Again, I wonder, a lot of people said this is the Iran-Contra thing in the 1980s all over again, the Watergate thing all over again from the 70s. But a big difference I see there is those were going on as the president in question was in power. Donald Trump has been out of office for 18 months now. Does that lose the oomph in this whole thing?
To a lot of people, absolutely. And a lot of people think that this is a waste of time and they don't want to hear about it. But I think that's the committee's point. They're trying to show footage and interviews that have never before been seen that maybe will sway some people's minds. A lot of what we know about Donald Trump and the events leading up to the insurrection at the Capitol is not really disputed. It's more of a question of whether that actually amounts to a crime. And I think it's very, very tenuous to argue that. But to display to the American people that this was a person in power, obviously the president, that engaged in things that were even so close to a criminal line that it really could be very concerning to some if they knew the truth. I think that's the purpose of the committee. But in terms of actual criminal indictments, I really don't see a strong argument there for most of these folks.
All right, Katie Cherkasky, thank you for that very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.